Welcome back to the Express Extra. I'm Julia Chatelain. It must be time for a quick market update. Let me bring you that and give you a sense of what we're seeing here in terms of the market action. Just a little bit softer, as you can see from that chart there, and what's already been a pretty choppy session. Down around 0.5% for the S&P 500, still managing to hold in the green. The NASDAQ here, we continue to watch a stronger dollar, weaker oil prices, which is not helping the energy stocks here too. Right, let's move on, because Richard Quest, as I mentioned earlier, is in Africa for the Express and for Quest Means Business. We're looking at a deep dive into the African economies and what they mean, what the outlook is there. Eleni Jokos joins us now from Lagos in Nigeria. Eleni, take it away.
Yeah, thanks so much, Julia. Well, let's take a look to see how the Nigerian Stock Exchange closed for today's session. As you can see, sitting in the green, which of course is very good news because the NSE has had a really tough year. IPOs are few and far between, and I think if you are either living in Nigeria or you're an investor in Nigeria, it's been an absolute roller coaster ride for whoever has got anything to do with this country. And I'll take you back to 2016, where Nigeria hit a recession, the worst since the 1980s. And to put that into perspective, all the bad things that come with recession, Julia, and that means a crippling currency, an economy that's under significant pressure, and of course, that also means capital controls. So the overall industry has been taking such a big beating because if you're doing business in this country, it means getting access to dollars has been so difficult. But it's interesting, on the coalface, on the ground, 160 million people are looking for economic opportunities. They're looking for jobs. And Richard Quest was in Nigeria last year, and he saw it and experienced it in the streets of Lagos. Let's take a look.
Behind me, Tinubu Square, the heart of the central business district, where I find the Central Bank of Nigeria and all the big towers of the large companies. This is one side of Nigeria as it moves into the 21st century. But the challenges can be seen on the other side. Yes, there are stalls with lots of mobile phones for sale, and no doubt about it, technology is rapidly moving into the economy here. For example, this is a common sight, people on computers everywhere. But then this is also a very common sight. Power generators just about everywhere. The supply of electricity is intermittent at best. Keeping the lights on is one of the biggest challenges facing companies big and small, and just about every consumer. Put it all together. Yes, Nigeria has a new government, just some 2 years old, with an ambitious reform plan and program. But it's a sign of how big the challenge is, that whichever way they turn, there are obstacles seemingly insurmountable.
Insurmountable, but at the end of the day, we've also seen so many opportunities and changes. And I have to say, every time I come to Lagos, whether it's the experience at the airport that's better, or just cranes in the skyline, or even skyscrapers, it's better. And who better to tell us about how to navigate these tough economic times? I have Tony Elumelu. He is the founder of the Tony Elumelu Foundation. He's also an entrepreneur, and you're everything from oil to hospitality, and of course, the likes of gas and power. I mean, it's really a wide-ranging portfolio, and even banking. So you've been hard hit on every front. Is that the right way to put it? Because you're looking overly optimistic for someone that has gone through tough times.
Let's put it this way. I think we've had the worst years, and that was 2016. Things are changing. It appears that our economic mind are finally getting a strong grip on the economy. Still room for improvement, but as an investor in the Nigerian economy, from the power sector, oil and gas, financial services, banking, I see improvement. I'm optimistic about the future.
Yeah, well, this oil price, you must be feeling really optimistic. You must be smiling quite a bit.
The oil price is good. It's encouraging. Our group are in the process of by 2 or 3 weeks' time, we should be closing a $2.5 billion asset oil as acquisition in the country. We're doing this as a demonstration of confidence in the economy, the state of the economy today. If the economy was not good or improving, we would not even contemplate that.
You say this, but investors, global investors, are so reticent to put money into Nigeria right now because they've had such a bad experience with the Naira and such a bad experience with capital controls. You've got tougher skin than what they do. What is your message to those investors?
The truth is, in 2016, we had a bit of a challenge with capital control. In 2018, no such.
You're fine. I mean, access to dollars are easy.
Yeah, very easy. I speak as someone who invests significantly in Nigeria. Yeah. Raising $2.5 billion for investment will not even come through if foreign investors were skeptical about capital control. The truth, though, is people don't have some information about Nigeria. The truth is there's room for improvement. The truth is we need to keep improving the ease of doing business so that we can attract more capital. But the economy is improving.
Okay. Now, we had this conversation offline a lot about net worth and just seeing it depreciate as the Naira comes under pressure. Has that given you a really big headache through the years? And how do you protect your money if you're sitting in a country like Nigeria?
First is I'm a long-term investor.
Yeah.
Two is I say I'm born and bred in Africa. I made my money in Africa. Yeah. And I'm happy to invest in Nigeria and across other African countries. Today we have invested in 23 African countries. The issue is exchange control is not an issue in Nigeria any longer, but the issue of depreciation of the currency could be. So if we operate in Nigeria as in other African countries, we factor this into our business plan. So in terms of net worth depletion,
you're not going to give me that number.
No, net worth depletion, the issue is that as a long-term investor, we look at the assets that we have. It's a moving thing. Today, exchanges at this level, you price it, you see what you have. Tomorrow it changes. But ultimately, we'll keep making investment because investments help to create wealth.
Okay, so where are the sectors that you're most excited about?
I'm very excited about oil and gas sector. I'm very excited about
But you're trying to diversify away from that.
No, but that is why we're putting in $2.5 billion investment necessary within oil and gas. And most importantly, power. However, because power investment for me is so important because Nigeria and Africa need power to develop. And our group, we're today the largest producer of electricity, generator of electricity in Nigeria, but we can do more. We don't need the debt. We owed some debt in that sector. We need the debt. So if I were to complain, I would complain about debt owed to us as power operators. In other sectors, I think things are improving. I think the central bank in particular, they finally gotten a grip of how to, the economy, the exchange control is no longer there. And people have a lot of market and windows have been created for investors who want to bring in money to invest in Nigeria, also who want to take money out of the country. The good thing is the signs look positive, but we should not relent. We should keep encouraging investors to come because we need investment, massive investment in Nigeria to help us develop, to help us create employment for our young ones, and to help us alleviate poverty.
So thank you very much for this. Much appreciated for your time. Tony Elumelu, the founder of the Tony Elumelu Foundation, entrepreneur and, of course, philanthropist that's doing so much in a country like Nigeria that has so much need for people to put money back into the economy. Julia.
Yeah, absolutely. A great analysis there, I think, of some of the challenges, but also some of the opportunities that remain. And it feels like, not long ago we were talking about the battle between Nigeria and South Africa for who has the largest economy here. I want you to do a deep dive now into South Africa, also facing its own set of challenges here. I guess the biggest one that simply growth isn't strong enough here. Eleni, talk us through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so South Africa, and it's great to be in Nigeria talking about South Africa, by the way, because it gives me a totally new perspective. South Africa is in a recession at the moment. You have the stock market down around 14% year to date. The currency that is one of the most volatile and liquid currencies on the emerging market space also coming under pressure this year, down around 14%. So I could give you all these bad numbers that you can focus on, but it's still the big brother on the continent. It's still the place where people go to springboard into the rest of the continent. It has industrialized. It has industry. It has, of course, the systems that are in place that are far more advanced than the rest of the continent. So South Africa might be falling behind on growth, but it's definitely still attractive for many reasons.
Eleni, thank you so much for the update there. Looking forward to hearing more from you later on in the week. And as we were saying, Richard has arrived in Kenya ahead of his special shows, and he did send this message.
And so I arrive in Kenya, in Nairobi. First time I've been to this country. It promises to be an exciting week ahead, and you'll get a chance to see it all on Thursday and Friday. The Express and Quest Means Business live from Nairobi. Hope you'll join us. Send us some thoughts, send us some questions, and we look forward to seeing you here. Now, have a profitable week.
We will do our best, and as Richard mentioned there, he will be live in Kenya on Thursday and Friday of this week. Right, as we wrap up the Express Extra, let me give you a final check of what we're seeing in the markets, and we are just bouncing off recent lows, as you can see, for the S&P 500. They're continuing to see pressure on the broader markets, on oil prices. The Nasdaq still holding in positive territory, and that just about wraps up the Express for today. Look forward to seeing you same place, same time tomorrow. Marketplace Africa up next.